Yesterday we talked about the need for Australia to compete in the global economy, and part of being able to compete means that we produce the best educated, best skilled, best trained workforce anywhere in the world. It's about giving our kids the best opportunities possible through our school system to compete with those kids who are emerging from the schools right across Asia and elsewhere in the world, whose education levels are rising and rising and rising. So we've got to make sure our kids keep up and they can compete in the future as well. Of course, the other part of ensuring that we are making the economy competitive is to make sure that the economy also is capable of managing the cost of living pressures faced by Australian families. And one of those cost of living pressures relates to the day-to-day costs of childcare. Under our Better Schools plan, which Bill Shorten has been working on so effectively over the last several weeks in his negotiations, under that Better Schools plan, we intend to deliver an extra $1.6 million on average for Australian schools over the next 6 years. Funding that would enable teachers to provide more one-on-one attention for kids. That's all part of making sure our kids get better educational qualifications. The other great thing about our schools, though, is that we've been investing in new facilities, multi-purpose facilities, better libraries right across the nation. 2,000 or 3,000 new multi-purpose facilities in schools, 2,000 or 3,000 new libraries as well. And one of the things that goes on in our schools is to make sure that our kids can be looked after properly before school and after school through what's called before and after school care or out of school hours care. A kid's development doesn't just begin at 9 and end at 3, we all know that. Today, what I want to announce is that the government will give parents a further helping hand in this regard through our Better Schools before and after school plan. The government will invest an additional $450 million in schools looking to establish outside school hours care on their grounds or extend the hours that they currently offer. This initiative will see, number one, more flexible school opening hours before and after school and during school holidays. Number two, additional places in areas where parents need access to out-of-school hours care, and significantly, new high-quality services, activities and programs for kids such as music programs, supervised sport, homework clubs, the practical stuff which makes that time before or after school useful and a fun place to be as well. And what I've seen around the country already is with our out-of-school hour care programs, these kids and those who supervise them in many places using the multi-purpose facilities we've built right across the country. In fact, I saw one of these just the other day in Adelaide. So this is a direct measure to help with the cost of living pressures and family pressures faced right across the nation. From 2014, up to 500 schools will benefit from extended services and improved activities. Around 345,000 kids aged mostly between 5 and 12 stand to benefit from the initiative. Our before and after school plan has a triple benefit. Better education services for our kids, more flexibility for parents to balance their work and family lives and to help with cost of living pressures, and to increase the opportunities for employment participation, in particular for women. Everywhere I go across Australia, what I hear is cost of living pressures and the pressures on family life in general. And this is designed to help families with cost of living pressures and to help deal with the time constraints of daily life. For the kids themselves, what Kate and Bill and I have just been talking about is the importance of making sure that this time before and after school is also well spent. As I said, organised homework's part of it, but we've also seen great programs around the country whereby there's supervised physical activity. Kids are taken out from behind the computer, run around chasing balls, putting balls through hoops, doing all that sort of thing. That's very good. And also provides the opportunity for music programs. It really is horses for courses. It depends what individual out-of-school hour care programs want. For example, services could open earlier from 7 in the morning or stay open later until perhaps even 7 in the evening. Extra hours could also be available for vacation care during school holidays. This, I think, is a very good initiative for Australian families and the pressures that they are under. Of course, this is on top of the School Kids bonus, which is already helping 1.3 million families, which Mr Abbott says he's going to abolish, and also the introduction of Australia's first national paid parental leave scheme. Just before I turn to my colleagues for a further comment on this, let me just add some observations on one or two other things that the government is engaged in today. Today, Minister Carr, Kim Carr, has announced a $200 million assistance package for the Australian auto industry. We've also announced a mandated 100% Australian-made target for the purchase of Commonwealth fleet passenger motor vehicles. This funding's in addition to the record $1.5 billion investment in the Australian car industry. If our 100% policy of using Australian-made vehicles for our own Commonwealth fleet of vehicles was applied across all levels of government, sales of Australian-made vehicles could increase by over 18,000 units a year. I believe our government should get behind the Australian industry. I think it's a good thing to do. And this would represent an 8% increase on 2012 production volumes. Minister Carr's in continuing discussions with industry about how the additional $200 million can best support growth in sales. And, of course, we stand ready to continue to get behind Australian manufacturing more broadly into the future. As I said yesterday, I don't see manufacturing as an industry belonging to the past. I see it as an industry belonging to Australia's future as well. And I note in passing that Mr Abbott has described this necessary assistance to the Australian motor vehicle industry as a band-aid. Well, obviously he doesn't support that $200 million going to the Australian auto industry, and he's already lopped off $500 million from what we thought was bipartisan support for the Australian motor vehicle industry, which provides 250,000 jobs, direct and indirect, through the auto parts and service industry as well.